I'm going to react to the foot debate by Anthony Lawson today. He mentioned me in the video, I'm pretty sure, so let's take a look to see what he has to say.
I can't stop thinking about feet, and here's why I think you should too. Why you should not stop thinking about them too. That is my introduction to this video. And I want to be very clear and intentional about the messaging here from the jump, because this video is going to be a weird one. And one that, for better and for worse, while having the potential to be incredibly informative, also, admittedly, does not entirely align with the scientific method. If you guys know me, you know the deal.
I think it will in the future, referring to GOATA. I think GOATA will be scientific in the future. We just need studies to kind of back it up, and studies require money, studies require time, and even if studies weren't performed, it doesn't prove that GOATA is false.
If not, I want you to know the deal. And if you might have heard of me from my video on the importance of eyesight in athletes, one of the best performing videos I've had on this channel, then you might recall the deal. In that video, I brought my audience along with me. I walked them through my journey into a specific rabbit hole of biomechanical knowledge. I taught them a thing or two about some professional athletes with incredible, relevant, underexplored gifts. And I concluded with a message about the importance of searching for knowledge on one's own. Being an internet explorer here, so to speak, and participating in online conversation that seeks to uplift all who are involved. After all of my findings related to eyesight in that video only came from 1, watching others in conversation, 2, adding to the conversation myself, and 3, learning from others who responded to me once I chimed in. This video here seeks to do more of the same, only this time I'm engaging with the science, or, well, maybe.
So this is obviously GOATA here, so the left one would be reverse movement, meaning you cave the knee in when you load, and then on your release, you see how his kneecap is pointing out, this left one here. So you would cave the knee in and then release it out. Cave the knee in, release it out, heel would flick in. On this middle one here, you would land and your knee would go out, so you would set a bow, and then you would release and the kneecap would point in. So this, if you were to, this right kneecap is pointing out a bit. Here's a better example here. So on this far right side here, he loads, kneecap points out, and then on the release, the kneecap would point in. So out to in would be forward movement, in to out would be reverse movement. That's kind of what it means.
Pseudoscience that has a significantly larger pre-existing community like already. I'm going to be talking about feet, biomechanics, and GOATA, also known as greatest of all time action or actions, a dogmatic, secluded, slightly schizo-posty, largely...
That's definitely me. I think I'm the only one who posts schizo posts. I do it on purpose because I I literally rewatch like all my videos a lot, because I like posting. That's kind of why I even do it.
Non-peer-reviewed field related to natural...
Like I said, in the future, it will be peer-reviewed. You just need money and time for that sort of thing. And I know Gary is doing a study. Like they're in a study right now with their athletes and stuff, and that should be released pretty soon. I haven't talked to him about it, but I know he's talked about it before. I'm not sure what they're like studying, or like what, if it's like the whole body, or if it's just like the foot compartment, or if it's just the knee. I'm not sure, but we'll see if that comes out.
Human movement that may just be onto something, or everything. I am going to tell you about my introduction to the field, what I have learned from the field. Action. For a while I was in pain. Plantar fasciitis, jumper's knee, general stiffness, soreness, lower back pain, imbalance, a lack of flexibility. From
those three, like plantar fasciitis, lower back pain, knee pain, are the big three for sure from people that I work with. So basketball players, football players in their youth, those three are like the main three. And then back pain kind of takes over as you age, but like knee pain, foot pain, those are the two that I deal a lot with from the younger athletes.
Basketball, sure, yeah, but also sometimes legit from walking. Just walk. Yeah, I threw my back out once, sneezing. That's how bad this got. And so I tried.
The founder of GOATA, I don't know if he sneezed and threw his back out, but like he threw his back out doing something goofy like that.
Tried to figure out why. That's where this all really began. In first year, I looked back. In 7th grade, I realized I had flat feet, duck feet, knee pain when squatting for the football team. I hated squats. I was told that I had jumper's knee way back then. So upon looking back, that was the first thing that I decided to try and fix after all this time. I tried to fix these duck feet manually.
Yeah, canon event for literally every athlete, fixing knee pain.
Mentally, point your feet forward, Anthony. Don't let your legs splay. But that didn't work.
He looks a few years older than me, so he would have been in high school in the, like, 2018, 2019. I've never even heard straight feet, that they, like, I never even knew straight feet or crooked feet mattered. The way your feet pointed mattered. I just thought it was your knee that mattered and what was causing everything. I didn't know there was anything below that. I didn't know the foot mattered.
For me, it was not that simple. See, I don't know if you know this, but it is kind of hard to constantly, consciously have to do that at all times. Tell yourself that at all times, especially in basketball shoes for me. Not to mention, a number of basketball players have duck feet, like LeBron. So that can't be it, I said, not knowing at the time that I was grazing the surface here of a significantly...
Yeah, LeBron's a main kind of scapegoat. If LeBron was GOATA, it would be like really easy to convince people that GOATA is the way, but
deeper subject related to both fields. Yeah, me and LeBron, us. Now next I tried shoes, different shoe shape.
He's also a billionaire and can pretty much get all the care he needs, whether that be drugs or massages, recovery tools.
I tried toe spacers. Maybe that was the problem. I tried barefoot walking, not outdoors like the crazy type, of course, but on like a walking pad. And eventually I found that out of all of my experiments, the barefoot stuff did seem to kind of help. My foot felt more balanced. My weight felt better distributed. But I mean, could I do anything with this? I can't play basketball barefoot, can I? Or could I? Next I tried barefoot shoes. You know, the flat ones with the really wide toe box.
A lot of people that message me, they think like this as well. Like they think like, oh, barefoot shoe, I'm good to go. And I thought like this as well. I only have barefoot shoes except for my basketball shoes. And I thought that was going to be like, I thought once I got my barefoot shoes, I thought I was going to be like LeBron. Like I thought I was going to be like Jordan. Like I thought I was going to be super athletic and like had super strong feet. But like you have to train your foot as well and not just have barefoot feet or barefoot shoes.
Natural foot movement is allegedly what they enable. That was what was next on my journey, and guess what? It actually kind of helped. When I played basketball in these shoes, these barefoot shoes, I was actually significantly quicker. I was forced to rest on the balls of my feet, not the heel, because striking with my heel in a basketball game, simply put, I mean, in these shoes, it hurt, and there was still a level of avoidance.
Yeah, that's true as well. If you walk or run with barefoot shoes, it hurts to strike your heel. There's a article about some runner, a marathon runner or long distance runner that started wearing barefoot shoes and like broke her heel bone because she was, I guess, heel striking really hard into the ground and really fractured her heel bone.
That I could not have with these. I was going to come into contact with the ground regardless, but it was mainly on the front of my foot. And this was huge. It was actually wild to witness at first. I remember I grabbed rim one of my first times playing in shoes like these. I felt significantly more free. I felt significantly quicker. My burst was faster because I was bursting from the right part of my foot. I felt like I had unlocked something, maybe everything, but unfortunately, this is not where that story ends because I still had problems. I still felt fundamentally a little imbalanced. I was still kind of duckfoot. And still, I'm not kidding, I felt as though one false step might ruin me. Like my knee might give out. It felt like that. My back still hurt tremendously bad when I would walk in these shoes for a long time.
Standing and walking and running with straight feet won't automatically fix your problems. It's much more than that, but it does help. It's a good starter for people getting into the movement space, and especially for older people, just knowing that they should probably walk with straighter feet, it can help them with pain. I've heard that before, where just walking with straight feet helps alleviate some back pain.
I would have this weird heel pain when my heels had to actually contact the ground. My lower back would still hurt. For my posture, my gait, walking in these shoes, things did not feel right still. My actions were not as great as they could be still. No. Something was different between me and LeBron. I know you're probably surprised to hear that, but something wasn't connecting here, adding up, and I couldn't quite put my finger on. Enter my algorithm. See, this is where the me part kind of stops and the online part kind of starts. This is where the internet began to help me on this quest in places where my curiosity on its own, largely also induced by pride and refusal to visit a doctor, could not. See, it started with a couple of small, mysterious posts from these niche TikTok accounts. Project KQ, I believe one is called. Hammer Toes Bro is another one, for starters.
We should continue to challenge the antiquated views on how we move.
The key is counter rotation. He has way more counter rotation than his competition.
I don't agree. I don't agree with counter rotation. I don't like that argument. But I think I think Project KQ is a pretty good social media user poster.
These quirky, black pill adjacent almost edit type accounts were the sort of thing that I began to be recommended. And all of them seemed to have a similar sort of message and purpose. It was funny to see these accounts on TikTok as I show you clips of them from them on the screen, because subconsciously, neurologically, I think my brain, my media literacy filter here, definitely found them to have a lot more in common with, say, Instagram Reels snake oil salesmen than legitimate communicators of information. That's kind of what
it's kind of a downside to what I post. It does look like a meme, which I'm going to try to do more serious type content, but like what I'm doing now actually.
Felt like. That's what this information felt like, only it didn't seem like these accounts were really trying to sell anything. And I don't mean that as disrespect when I say that these posts, when I first began getting them, felt illegitimate. I just mean as process-oriented observation. These things were funny. Confirmation bias, grainy, select footage, black pill music, you know the stuff, mysterious, hardly legible arrows and symbols, talk of spiral chains, fascia, the invisible hand of the universe, and of course, the Instagram Reels classic here, a fundamental message to these posts, concept, returning to humanity's natural roots. That was what my algorithm started to become. And what do you know? Once I got my Instagram algorithm to catch up to my TikTok one, I started getting these posts everywhere. These posts about movement, about action, about greatest of all time action, about GOATA. Now, beyond the packaging here, being admittedly suspect to these posts and pretty comical at times, I must admit I found myself really, truly enjoying these videos, being fascinated by them. One, because of, again, my catalyst here, pain, driving me to seek out unorthodox answers, and two, because of the legitimate nuggets of truth that I would uncover in these videos. Because in the GOATA community, in this field, the subject of discussion is natural human movement and what optimized movement may look like. And
throwing, running, walking, getting up from the ground, getting to the ground. I mean, those are the main 4 or 5, whatever I listed. I mean, you're not going to really, you don't need to do a pull-up in nature that much. You don't need to do a bench press. You don't need a deadlift to 500 pounds every day in nature. You're throwing, you're resting on the ground, you're getting up from the ground, you're walking, running occasionally, I guess. You're not really running that much. Yeah.
there are very specific concepts that are core to this field, this science, pseudoscience. Let's go through them. So there's narrow gait, walking like a supermodel, walking like a tiger. There is the concept of the 4-foot strike, walking with your big toe, not walking heavy on your heels. There is this concept of the spiral chain, columns in our bodies on the left and right side. This conceptually ties into torque and the idea that most of our power comes from unwinding this spiral. Talk of this connective fascia tissue then brings us to the subject of flexibility, mobility, the power that we generate from within simply by existing in this way. Bow legs being the key to sudden burst.
Bow legs are different from a GOATA bow. So the GOATA bow is down, back, and out, meaning as the knee bends, the hip and ankle work together to go out and back. So the hip and ankle are going out and the knees bending down, and that's giving the illusion that there's a bow leg or a bow, like a curved leg. But someone that has bow legs, like the deformity, that's not the same. That's like they're stuck in that bow, and they their kneecap still kind of points in sometimes, whereas a GOATA bow, their kneecap was going to point out. Yeah.
incredible hops. And they've got human evidence here too. The 55-year-old Japanese man who can dunk barefoot, something like that. The 100-pound Japanese pitcher who just won the World Series, I'm forgetting his name. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is one of the primary
That's actually Nah right there. I messed up in that video. That's Nikhil Alexander Walker. This is SGA's cousin.
Basketball examples I've seen. He's incredibly flexible, right? That's kind of his X factor, is it not? Jamar Chase has quite literally endorsed GOATA. He's used the name.
A system called GOATA movement.
Let that sink in. Tom Brady is GOATA. Indigenous peoples apparently seem to be GOATA. Again, from grainy clips. The lady who won those marathons in Central America who runs with, like, slides on.
This woman outsmarted Nike.
She's GOATA. GOATA, this concept essentially of unobstructed, primal, intuitive movement, does seem to have a lot of supporting evidence when you look in the right places. And I think most importantly of all here, one of the number one things that got me interested in this and believing in it in the first place was its discussion of injury risk. Talked about the athletes, but that was the other thing. See, one of these guys, one of these accounts, injury.
How you go, Musket? That he's talking about me here. So I posted a video. I posted probably 10 videos of Travis Hunter saying he was at a high risk for a knee injury, non-contact. And then a week before Neighbors tore his ACL, I said he was at a high risk for his right, also a high risk of his left, but I pointed out that the right was worse. And he tore his right ACL actually a week later. You know,
risk. Talked about the athletes, but that was the other thing. See, one of these guys, one of these accounts, Hammer Toes Bro, shout out to him, he made a video where he talked about how he predicted Travis Hunter to suffer a knee injury.
And I was able to predict their non-contact knee injuries.
He made a video talking about Malik Neighbors.
I don't like predicting injuries anymore.
And how he may have suffered his injury. He's made videos about Anthony Davis, duck-footed athletes in general, WOTA, worst of all time action movers in general. This to me was the final selling point because, like, to get me really taking it seriously, because pain, again, was my driver here, my initial push. And as I began to understand it, GOATA-related injuries, or injuries caused by not being GOATA, do seem to generally stem from the same things. Those things once more being duck feet and a low in-turn inside ankle bone when your feet splay. That was the ultimate kiss of death here, or it.
That's basically why duck feet's a problem, or duck-footed is a problem, is because this unsafe range, it makes it easier for this overpronation to happen. And you know, the middle one isn't good as well, in my opinion. But especially this one right here, it makes the duck feet make it easier because you're going forward, you're rolling to the inner edge of your foot, which is going to be pronating basically. That's why you want the straight foot. It makes it a lot easier to keep that inner ankle bone high here. But you can still have inner ankle bone high with a crooked foot. So for example, LeBron does a decent job keeping his inner ankle bone somewhat high when his feet are crooked, so when he plants, he doesn't like absolutely collapse his foot like a lot of people would do if they were to imitate his run or walk.
Inside ankle bone when your feet splay. That was the ultimate kiss of death here, or is. Because the way that we are intended to move is through the big toe. You move from the big toe, you generate an arch in your foot. You move with arch, you move inward. You move narrowly, you move with proper gait. You move light on your toes. You move balanced. You spiral connect like a tiger.
He says the big toe is the kind of main point. In GOATA, you want more of the pressure to funnel towards the outsides. The big toe pad and the big toe stay down, toes as well, but you're really kind of funneling pressure towards this green area of the foot when you load. And obviously as the heel lifts up, then the green area becomes more here, and this, you know, obviously this part becomes lifted, but you're really trying to pressurize more of the outer edge. The big toe, you're not really on the instep of the foot heavily. It still is down, but you're not pushing through it like he's kind of implying there.
Tigers don't do sit-ups. Move with duck feet though, and the chain collapses. Your feet fall flat, your weight distributes to the wrong parts of the foot, the wrong toes.
Even here in the right here, you'd want this more of a fist width distance apart. His feet are a little too wide. He's inner ankle bone low right here. Both of them are inner ankle bone low.
The wrong parts of the ankle, the wrong parts of the knee in turn, and from there you get the idea. It all starts on the ground. It all, seemingly, starts with your feet. And see, as I learned more and more here, I only wanted to learn more and more. I learned that most members of this community were here for similar reasons too. Again, chronic pain, likely from alarmingly young ages, maybe back pain, knee problems, struggles with sustainability here, that feeling that modern comfort has replaced our natural intuitive solutions to universal gravitational problems. It resonated with me, and I truly did just begin to want to use this knowledge, again, free, communal, conversational, self-improvement oriented knowledge, as best as I could. I wanted to believe it, because in spite of its questionable process, in spite of the grainy quality, in spite of the echo chamber, controversy, dogmatism, schizo posting, in spite of it all, something about this community felt undeniably authentic to me. People driven, not profit driven, humans helping humans. Sure, there might be some courses being sold by maybe someone somewhere along the thing. Sure, there might be some
Yeah, I sell courses too. I just don't really promote them until you get through, like, until you learn something. You know, I want to teach you something first. I don't want to just give you a $500 course to buy to start. I want to provide something before you do that.
to limits to truth here, but I think the best way to put it is that I didn't feel used on my quest for knowledge at this time. I felt aided. I felt empowered. But there did remain an issue. 2 issues, to be exact. 2 duck-footed issues. Me, still, and LeBron James. 2 duck-footed goats who simply could not, it seemed, change if they tried. Because if a narrow, straight, big toe oriented gait is the key to being a great mover, and if being duck-footed is a sort of enemy here, and if feet alone may really be the key to incredible, sustainable athleticism in any and all sports, I mean really, once you look for it, it's impossible to not notice, then why was it so hard for me to change? Remember how I said earlier that I've already tried to stop walking duck-footed and I just can't? And why was LeBron such an exception? I mean, when I tell you that GOATA hates LeBron, GOATA hates LeBron.
Fire that guy
I don't hate LeBron.
right there.
In fact, one of the reasons I had always taken GOATA generally as a concept with a grain of salt from the start was because one of the first videos I ever saw in this field was this.
If a leopard walked like LeBron James, it wouldn't catch its dinner.
GOATA hates LeBron, but LeBron is beating GOATA, isn't he? If anything, his existence is a stain on GOATA's legacy, is it not? Well, no. I believe LeBron, GOATA, and me, yes me, coexist, and more importantly than that, we connect. See, this is where I reveal to you my theory on both, and where I leave you with my concluding thoughts on this topic. And I guess I'll start with the most important thing first. My revelation here did begin with the king. And no, I'm not talking about me. I'll be nice. I'm talking about LeBron first. Because as previously mentioned, in the GOATA field, the key to movement is feet. And the key to feet is toes. And folks, I'm not sure if you've seen LeBron's toes, but they're a doozy. I'm currently weighing just how, like, mad detective I want to get on you right now, but I firmly do believe doozy. I'm currently
Should be an X right there.
weighing just how, like, mad detective I want to get on you right now, but I firmly do believe this all connects. So I've seen LeBron's toes before, like I've been aware of their existence.
They're not that bad if you look at other basketball players' feet. They're not that, like, this big toe isn't that bunionated. Mine was worse than that.
In shape for a while online, not in person to be clear, but only recently have I come to appreciate the purpose of these toes, the purpose that this shape serves. Because if you ask me, when we look at LeBron's feet here, there's probably a photo right next to me right now, LeBron's feet haven't just coincidentally molded to fit the shape of his tight, impact softening, artificial footwear. No, if you ask me, they have intentionally molded, essentially, to combine the fundamental GOATA style, big toe oriented, natural movement of humans.
Yeah, I like what he's saying, but it's not big toe oriented. The big toe is really small, not strong compared to this big outer blade, ball of the foot area. The big toe is more used for balance. It's like a cliffside, so the big toe is big because, well, you don't want to go over the big toe. So you're funneling to this outer edge of the foot here, outer blade, ball of the foot. You don't want the big toe is there, so it's pushing everything out to this outer blade of the foot. if you collapse, if you go inside the big toe, that's not good. That's like you falling off a cliff.
Humans with the necessary, wildly important invention of impact softening basketball shoes. It's a game played on a hardwood floor. Yeah, when I look at LeBron's feet now, I don't see like screwed up toes. I see a big toe here that lands first. And I see in turn an inside ankle bone that lands high. And I see a body in turn that has more or less evolved to stay true to those fundamental GOATA principles, preserving the knees, preserving the arch, while still embracing and accepting modern human inventions designed for sustainability here too. Basketball shoes are a must. You can't play in barefoot shoes. That is what I now see when I see LeBron.
I've tried doing it before with the uncivilized sneaker. It's super uncomfortable. I've used the Zero X1s. Those are pretty comfortable, I'd say. I don't use them anymore just because they don't make my size, but the Zero X1s, they're a barefoot basketball shoe that you could get. I just recommend wearing them with toe spacers, or else your foot will slide around because it's so wide. If you don't have toe spacers, your foot will just slide around in them. So,
and understanding how LeBron can coexist with these principles that seem to go against him, well, now everything has started to make sense. Our duck-footed exception of a king is not what we should strive to be. He's not the sort of mover that we should strive to replicate, unless you can get toe surgery. But he is, at least to me, evidence of what we can be in an optimal scenario. This guy's played for 21 years. Do we really think that doesn't start at the base with his feet? The thing that are constantly resisting gravity in the first place in this sport of his? Take that theory and do what you wish with it. I really do think LeBron James' feet are under discussed. But now I'll leave this conversation to me, because I'm sure you find LeBron interesting, but me more so, right? See, this does need to lead to me though, because I am a person who, for some time here, did try to convince themselves that duck feet was a feature and not a bug by looking at the conversation. Thanks so much for watching. If you made it to the end here, please leave a comment.
that was a pretty good video. I'm just going to show some LeBron stuff to kind of see why he was pretty durable despite being a WOTA. So LeBron has bow legs, as you know. His legs kind of are stuck a bit out, which aren't ideal, but it does kind of help to keep the inner ankle bone high despite having crooked feet. So let's go to his landing here. So just watch his right leg here. So usually, usually when someone's foot is turned out like this, their foot collapses like a pretty good amount, but not with LeBron most of the time. So he plants, if I could get a good angle here, he plants really like running pretty high speed, and his foot doesn't collapse too much here. And he's like full, like he's pretty crooked here. Let's go to his next stride. This is pretty crooked. This is a pretty crooked step here. See, that's like a pretty good, this is just one clip here. There's worse clips out there, but for the most part, especially when he was below 35 years old, this is pretty regular for him. Like, he was able to keep this decent relationship between the inner ankle bone and the outer ankle bone despite having that crooked foot. And I think that kept him, that's the reason why he was pretty healthy. Let's go to there's worse videos out there from when he was older. There's a video of him running like full speed here. Here we go. On the calves. So this is a worse video, older LeBron. So yeah, this is pretty. Plants not the best inner ankle bone here, but you can see how his knee is still pointing out here. So his kneecap's still kind of pointing out here, which is what we want, but obviously we want the kneecap to point outside the foot. But right now his kneecap is pointing on top of the foot, which means his ankle is pretty locked up. So his foot and his shin are like glued together basically. Like his foot can't separate from the shin like you would see ideally. So ideally I used this video yesterday. I used Ed Reed. Ideally, the foot is straight and the kneecap points outside the foot as you load. So plant here, foot straight on the landing here. Boom, foot straight, and the shin, just watch the shin area here. It just kind of goes out, just swivels out as he loads. So with LeBron, his is already out. Like he plants and his shin is already out. Yeah, still lacking on the corner. The corner is the release. So his heels like stay in on the release here. Kneecaps still stay pointed out. Here, ideally, you'd want the kneecaps to point in on your release. So Klay Thompson didn't really have a good bow, so he's like the opposite of LeBron. But his corner was pretty good. So when he loaded up, or sorry, when he released, his kneecaps would point in here. Kneecaps point in. Heels turn away. Heels are more away. I think there's a front angle of this. Yeah, here we go. So he plants, explodes up, heels turn away. It's hard to see the kneecaps there. But yeah, heels turn away versus LeBron. His heels are like pointed more in. Overall, good video. Kind of got confused on the big toe pad or the big toe. It's more the outer edge of the foot, but you know, if your big toe pad still stays down, so it's not a huge deal, but I wouldn't really focus on pushing through your big toe. That is more associated with inner ankle bone low behavior. If you get really heavy on the inner edge of your foot, well, that's inner ankle bone low behavior. You're kind of restricting that pressure, the weight, to kind of flow towards that outer edge of your foot, keeping the big toe pad down as you do that. Overall, good video though. Thank you, Anthony, for the promotion.